Alright, now this is gonna be a video tutorial on me showing you my dolphin setting, my dolphin emulator settings, okay? Alright, so when you first download my dolphin F 5.0 RC35, meaning RC stands for release candidate version. Okay, now for my when you first get this all installed and everything, you'll want to head to, and when you first get it installed, if you don't this will be empty completely. All right, so for configurations, you'll want to have enable dual core speed up checked and enable idle skipping speed up checked. You want to have those two checked. And as for cheats, you can, if you're intending to use game cheats, you definitely want to have this enabled for them to work. Or if you don't want to use cheats, you can uncheck it. Okay, and for the interface, you can just leave this all default. But by default, this will be checked and this will be checked. But I would recommend unchecking it. Otherwise, it will be kind of annoying because every time you start a game, you'll see bunches of words and long paragraphs start up and then fade away. So I'd recommend have that thing. And as for theme, you can have it anything you want. I have it boomy because it looks cool that way for me. Alright. And as for audio, you want to have DSP Heil emulation fast on because other ones are just too slow and this one's the very best. And for audio backend, I recommend using X-Audio 2. Alright, now by default this should be already on that one, and that one too, I think. Maybe, yeah. And for GameCube, now this has BIOS and stuff, and system language. I usually leave this alone, you know. And this for like memory card slot A. Now I have like a bunch of memory cards for a bunch of different games. And now you can technically make an infinite number of memory cards, which is kind of cool. All you gotta do is basically you right click on it and you hit copy. Then you just paste another one, and then when you get into a game, you can format it. And don't worry, your other memory card will be still remain fine. It won't be formatted with the copy of it. The copy is like an entirely different new one. All right. So now for the Wii, I just leave this all alone. You know, there's no reason to really mess around with that unless you want to. And this is the file pass. Just kind of leave that alone, I guess. And as for advanced, I'd recommend putting it on 125, even though it has a warning saying it can break games. But I've used it on 125 and there's no problems. I've even bounced it up. Well, of course, if you bounce it really unrealistically high, then it's going to have problems. But 125 is the best setting. So I'd recommend having that on there. Alright, now moving on to the graphics. Alright, so I have, I use Direct3D because, well, my computer doesn't support OpenGL, and I'd highly recommend not using software renderer. That's just a joke. You know, I wouldn't use that. So either Direct3D and OpenGL. Now, depending on your graphics card, you either have to use OpenGL or Direct3D. But out of all of them, the betterment of them is OpenGL, even though Direct3D has its good things too, but sometimes OpenGL has better stuff. Alright, and that's my graphics card, my adapter there, you see. Alright, now for full screen resolution, I'd recommend using it on the highest setting. If your computer can handle it, you can lower it if you want. Lower it really far, you know, and stuff. You can even put it on auto, I guess. Alright, for aspect ratio, I'd recommend putting it on stretch to window. That's what I do for full screen effect. And now this VSync here, I would highly recommend that you check this. Because if it's unchecked, then you're going to have severe tearing in the screen on any game. It doesn't matter which. So yeah, I'd recommend you check that, okay? Alright. Now, for Now for other, it's best you just well, I guess if you want to, you could show FPS, or I hide the mouse cursor because it gets in the way whenever I'm recording. All right, and now for the use of full screen, reason why I have that unchecked is because I I um I use windowed mode so I can record games and they run better. So, but if you're just playing the game, and so on and so forth, I'd recommend having that checked. All right, so for enhancements, now I'd recommend for basically any game, it's perfect for. Mostly only for recording, though. I'd recommend having it on 720p unless you want to have it on 180. It just depends on what your computer can handle. My computer can technically handle all the way up to 180p. When I'm just playing it, for fun on any game. It doesn't matter. But you can I'll go all the way up to 5K, which I like about this version of the emulator. All right, so I recommend just having that on none from some games because it kind of just messes up the textures for some games like Twilight Princess and all those games. So I just have that on none and not on one because the internal resolution kind of makes up for that anyway. I always use scaled EFB copy. I recommend you do the same thing as opposed to now say for like the Pokemon XD Guild, the Pokemon games like Pokemon XD Guild Darkness, Coliseum, you would have this unchecked though. But for every other game I've come across, it's fine. Sometimes you can use this too. I mean, it gives it kind of an enhancement, like in those polygons and stuff. And like for the GameCube games, not all though, but most I've come across, I usually use this widescreen hack along with the special Game Shark code or Gecko. All right, I just leave this the same, this alone down here because I don't have NVIDIA. Okay, so for hacks and for this particular game, you want to have this unchecked because it fixes aiming. Now, for fast depth calculation, I recommend you have this unchecked throughout the gameplay if you're just playing it for fun. So that gives it more of the console effect, the actual game console. And I would have this disabled here. Okay. And this all the way on fast, safe. Doesn't really matter, but I'd have it on fast though. Alright, now for the actual Wii game, you want to go to properties, and you want it to look like this. So basically, you want to have those two checked, these ticked, which basically you got to click twice to get to. And this is set on 25. You can just slide it down there, or you can go to Edit, and you can go all the way down to 25 and just change it that way. That works too. Alright, and so now this game requires a real Wii remote to for Motion Plus. So what you'll need is a device called Bluetooth device. So you can get that out. You can find out more information about that on the Dolphin emulator site. And if you wanted me to do a future video on how to set up the Wii remote, if you're having trouble with it, I'll do that too. Just leave it in the comments. So if this video was any helpful, I hope it was. Thanks for watching, and hopefully in the future I can fix this freaking Windows game from changing every dang time. Alright, when I'm recording tutorials, because it always does that every single time. Alright, again, I hope this was helpful, and thanks for watching.